This is a presentation of BSRN, Box Studios Radio Network.
I do have some numbers, and even after looking at the numbers and looking at like the save percentages and stuff, I kind of came to the conclusion that maybe it's not exactly all about the player, and maybe it's just either the team or like coaching per se. And I'm not picking on Carolina or picking on Cavalier or saying anything negative about him at all.
You know, Jerry, talk about it. I mean, you've only now played 6 professional games in your career. Obviously, you know, playing in Toronto is a very special.
It was great. I mean, it was definitely it was good to be in that situation. Toronto's a great city. You walk on the street and basically, you know, a lot of people know who you are, which is good. But you know what, that first game was good. I had a couple exhibition games before that with the Leafs, and kind of got me used to it. So I got all the nerves out, so I wasn't too bad out there.
All these things kind of formulate and kind of like create the person that you can be, because in this line of work, your line of work, you can't just be a coach. You sometimes have to be a scout. You sometimes have to be a general manager.
Well, I mean, one of the things that coaches have to be, they have to be problem solvers, you know. And if you were to talk to my wife, I mean, the one thing that she appreciates about me is there is no such thing as a catastrophe in my eyes. You know, there really isn't. I mean, things aren't necessarily always going to go the way you want them to go, but you know what? Once you've had the issue, it's not so much about the issue as it is how we're going to solve this issue. You know, how we're going to get through it. How are we going to do what we got to do to move on.
And your favorite podcaster is?
Bobby Howard, of course. The only one I listen to. The only place there's no fake news.
And first of all, I want to say congratulations for being inducted into the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame.
Thank you. It's quite an honor. Anytime you get inducted into any Hall of Fame, you know, of this magnitude, and you have to look at it as certainly a great honor.
This cup ain't leaving, neither am I, baby.
Hi, this is Don Biggs from the 92-93 Binghamton Rangers.
Hi, this is Brandon Buchinski.
This is Grady Wittenberg, the voice of the Binghamton Senators, and you're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
Back-to-back Empire Division champions, regular season and playoffs. Victory is a dish best served on ice. Final horn, back in Animal, one more for good measure. It's over. The Black Bears are FPHL champions once again.
The Power Play Post Show is on the air, covering minor league hockey since 2003, and now covering the Binghamton Black Bears with news, reactions, and in-depth interviews only heard here. And now, from the Box Studios in Kirkwood, New York, here are your hosts of the Power Play Post Show, Bob Howard and Taylor Welch.
And hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Power Play Post Show. This is the show for September 18th, 2025. This is season 15, episode number 5, and episode number 519 in the long-running podcast that is the Power Play Post Show. Hello, everyone. I am your host, Bob Howard. She is
Taylor Welch.
And we are back, and we have a great show planned for you. We have Brooks Hill. And we were talking a little bit off air. We're going to have a great interview, and we'll say it now. It's going to be with Josh Fletcher. It's going to be recorded on Thursday evening, and you guys will get to hear that on Sunday. And then we'll have our little reaction about that interview with Josh as well during or after that interview that you'll get to hear on Sunday. And Taylor, how's it going?
It's going. I feel like it's flying, and I feel like hockey is going to be here tomorrow. I feel like summer, I was waiting for it to end, and now it just feels like it's already here.
Yeah, and you said once I started doing the countdown and putting out the pictures with, you know, how many days are left and everything, it seemed to fly by. And I got to be honest with you, I didn't expect it to do that because during the summer, it felt kind of like the summer was dragging along. But then as soon as I started doing the countdown, it did start to fly by.
Yeah, it feels like it went from almost 50 to now we're almost under 20, and it just seemed like it went from last week to this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I've been trying to, when I kind of selected some of these pictures, a couple of the guys are going to show up on the days of, their jersey, kind of like the teams do, right? Today as we're recording on Wednesday evening. It was CJ Stubbs, 23 days left to go. And I got to be honest with you. I did Luke Doble's just a few days ago. He was only in 3 games at home that I actually took pictures at, right? And I didn't take a lot of pictures of him. So I want to do him again on the 18th, with 18 days left to go. I got to be honest with you. This is like the hardest part of doing this, is like picking the right picture. And if you don't have the right picture, it's kind of like you got to keep looking and keep looking and keep looking. And then you find the guy and you're like, oh, that's great. And then it's like, oh, that one's blurry. Damn it. And you got to move and keep going. It is not a fun task, but in the end, it's kind of neat to see how it turns out in the end. But it's not a fun task overall.
Yeah, but the end product is definitely worth all the stress to get to there.
Yeah, and I hope people have been enjoying it. And, I hope it's just, a daily reminder, hey, we're getting closer and closer and closer. Camp actually starts, technically October 1st. So 2 weeks from today that you and I are actually talking, me and Brooks talked about it in the interview. We both said the 29th, but it's actually not Monday. It's actually going to be Wednesday, the 1st, October 1st, that camp will begin. Now, the boys will actually be practicing at the BC Ice Center, as the ice will be going in that week. So I think on the 30th and the 1st and the 2nd, they'll be putting in the ice, getting the boards up, painting the logo on the floor. So that'll all get done right around then, which is, pretty much how it usually happens. And then what I'm being told is that the boys will practice on Friday the 3rd, which is the day of the preseason game. They'll practice on the Visions ice, but probably won't be a long practice, and they won't be able to stay out there too long because they'll have to get the ice ready for the AHL game later on that evening. But that's still pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how that whole story plays out with the AHL game. But at least they get to practice and they have somewhere to practice. That's the good part. I think camp should be interesting this year, and I think everyone's excited to see the outcome.
Yeah, one of the things that we noticed, Brooks and I noticed, is that each year that Brant brings guys into camp, there's less and less guys. I mean, right now, this is going to change, and I'm going to warn people right now, there is something coming out on Friday. I know what it is. Taylor doesn't know what it is yet, but I do know what it is. And it's going to shrink the roster going into camp. So camp, but then there's still 2 weeks left. So a couple more guys could sign. But there is something that's going to happen on Friday. Pretty sure it's going to be announced on Friday. If it's not, it'll be announced soon enough. And it'll change. But one of the things that Brooks and I looked at was there's only 25 guys in camp. You're really only going to have 20 guys signed. So there's going to be 5 guys that aren't going to make the team. And realistically, we're going to talk about the roster here in just a little bit more. There's 16 returning players that either played at least one game or more last year. And it'll be very interesting to see how this all turns out at the end of camp when he has to make cuts, or maybe somebody gets traded somewhere else near the end of camp because they're good enough to play, and maybe there's some value there that Brant can get. But when he first got here the first time, he had like 35 in his first camp. He had like 35, 36 players. And now he's kind of whittled down what his camp is going to be just to 25 players.
I think that's kind of it's an interesting look at it, but I also think it's kind of a good thing, because to me, that just tells me that he knows exactly what he's looking for.
Yeah.
And that he's already reached that. He doesn't need a bunch of guys to try out. He knows the returning guys. That's a good core start to this team.
Yeah.
And he doesn't need to bring in 30 guys to try to make a spot on the team. He's already got a handful extra that are going to be fighting for a spot. and he knows exactly what he wants.
Yeah, I agree 100%. All right, the Power Play Post is available on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, YouTube, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post Show on your favorite app, and don't forget to subscribe. Join the conversation on Facebook. Search for Power Play Post Show. Don't call me a downer, please. It'd be nice, if you didn't. But hey, it's okay. I mean, freedom of speech. You can say what you want, I guess, and become part of our community. Be sure to like, comment. Just don't call me a downer, but maybe I am. I don't know. And share our latest episodes with your friends. Am I a downer?
I mean, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. All right. Just making sure. All right. Looking for everything Binghamton Hockey, visit binghamtonhockey.net. Your go-to source for stats, history, and all things Binghamton Hockey. And I'm just picking on you, Mackenzie. It's okay. All right. And you know what? I'll let you read the next one. Who's coming up?
Sorry, I was already ready for the next bulletin.
Okay. Well, coming up on this episode of the Power Play Post Show from the Binghamton Black Bears, it will be broadcaster Brooks Hill. And yes, I kind of didn't tell Taylor I was going to have her read number 4, but that's okay. But Taylor, let's look at this roster, because I'm sure the fans are kind of curious what's going on with the roster going into camp. And this is going to be pretty simple. First of all, let's talk about this. And this is an important part. And me and Brooks talks about this a little bit as well. Camp is closed to the public and the fans. Okay. So camp is very important for the players. It's very important to the coaching staff, and it's very important to the team as a whole. Okay. So the camp needs to be about the players and who's going to make the team, right? If there are 16 returning players, that means there's 4 spots available. If all 16 of those returning guys actually make it on the squad, there's 4 really spots, technically really only 3, because one of those, that 20th spot, has to be a goaltender, right? So you could have 3 goaltenders on the roster, or you just have 19 players. So realistically, there are 3 or 4, maybe 5 spots that people will be battling for, and camp is closed. Basically, they just don't want that outside distraction happening, and I can completely understand that. And we're going to talk a little bit later on in the show about the things that you can do over these next 2 weeks to kind of meet some of the players, to get your fix a little bit before the games start. But camp is off limits for the fans. I think that is a reasonable thing. I think that's okay.
I think that's a great thing. I truly do. I know that the fans truly love to experience I guess I'm going to use the word intimate. There was a couple that used to go to the practices, and they like that. It's pretty quiet, the one-on-ones, the learning. Just kind of seeing them outside of the game, but still on the ice. I understand wanting to see that aspect, but I also think it's crucial to have it closed off for a reason.
Well, because everybody, they're getting to know each other. Right? Okay, yes, there are definitely 16 guys that know each other, and probably 10 of those guys know each other really, really well. But you really want to give all the rookies, all the new guys, a fair shot at really kind of just blending in with this family, because that's what it is. It is a family, and it's their immediate family is the 20 guys that are going to be on this team, including, Brant and, Mason Esworthy and Elise, the trainer, those people, and Aiden, of course, the equipment manager and the assistant equipment managers. These guys, that's the immediate family. And then we're the extended family, right? The fans, the media, kind of the extended family. And so these are the special Sunday night dinner kind of meetings that they need to have. Because there'll be more than just the on-ice stuff. There's going to be stuff like video. And honestly, for some of the rookies, it's learning a little bit about how to be a pro. And it's also all the logistics. Guys are going to be moving into new places, and, there's all that stuff. So that's why training camp is closed, and that's kind of okay, and that's kind of important.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that you said, and I think you made some good points.
So, okay, so let's talk about who's in here. Okay, now the first 7 guys that I have on the list that, me and Taylor can see, and I might post something very similar to this to the fans because I think it's a very clear indication of what's, who's coming into camp. And the first 7 guys are the defensemen. We got Jesse Anderson, Cam Servone, who has indicated to me he's going to be here and not really move to the SPHL. He really wants to spend a full season with the Black Bears. We got Luke Dobles, who played 5 games last season for the Black Bears. It'll be very interesting to see how he improves. We got Chandler Lynch. We got Sergei Sherbakov. I'm pretty sure that's being pronounced right. Daniel Stone and Dan Weber. Now, when I look at those defensemen, you got 4 guys that have at least one full season or more playing professionally, because Cam Servone, that was his last year was his first full year. Luke Dobles, though, only has 5 games, and then you have the 2 rookies, Chandler and Sherbakov, that obviously are the rookies. But if you've got 7 guys playing for maybe 6 positions, right? Or maybe one of the extra guys is a defenseman, all 7 of these guys can make the team, but doesn't necessarily mean they all will. But going into this now, I feel more comfortable for the Black Bears defensively because there are 7 guys coming into camp that are pure defensemen. And, and the one thing that I think really needs to be decided in camp is who plays along with Dan Stone. Is it Jesse Anderson? Is it somebody else? Is it Cam Servone? Who is going to be that puck-moving defenseman that you're going to put with Dan Stone? Because Dan Stone is arguably one of the best defensemen in the FPHL because he's a defenseman, right? Not a puck-moving guy that much. Offensively got a little bit better. But that's the big question. Who's going to be the guy you're going to play with Dan Stone? And the other question is, who's going to be your 6th defenseman that when you make up the lineup card, who's going to be that guy that's going to be on a line with Cam Servone or maybe Luke Dobles on the, in the 3rd pairing?
Yeah, I think just looking at it defensively, having 3 pros and 4 rookies, even though Cam Servone is a rookie, which the whole pro and rookie thing kind of throws me through a loop sometimes because, for me, Cam Servone, I understand that he's got the rookie status, but he's also played in higher leagues.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to weigh that when you think about it. So really, for me to look at it and say that you got 3 rookies and 4 pros, basically, I think it's a good outlook. And I think, honestly, you could pair any one of these guys with Stone or Weebs or Jesse or mix them all around, and I think that they could make it work and kind of get a good flow going. Yeah,
and even if your defense doesn't score as many goals as it normally would have with Dakota Bond on the team, as long as defensively there isn't a hit. Like, in other words, if Connor McAnanima and Nolan Egbert's goals against averages stay the same or improve just a little bit, then defensively, you haven't been harmed by Dakota Bond not being there. Now, of course, do we want Dakota being here? Absolutely, 100%. Of course we do, right? His offensive skill is off the charts, and, power play is amazing. When he's on the power play, it's potent. But as long as defensively they still play to that level, so I think going into camp, defense, not a problem at all.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think that losing Dakota for the time being, whether it's for this whole year or however it ends up playing out, I do think that it is sad and it does suck because he is a great player all around. But just looking at who we have and looking at their numbers and stuff, I'm not too worried.
Yeah, Sergei Sherbakov, one of the things I want to point out about him is he's the same size as Dan Stone. He's a little bit lighter than Dan Stone. Now, when I pulled his numbers off Elite Prospects, I don't know when the 185 pounds was in there, but he and Dan Stone are both 6'4". And I think that is really important because if you think about it, the kid from Port Huron that got the Ottawa Senators prospect, training camp invite, Simmons Fisher, and which he played on Port Huron and played against the Binghamton Black Bears a couple times. He's 6'8" and like 240 pounds. So that just tells you what it takes to get an invite to an NHL camp size-wise. You know, especially defensemen, they want you to be big. They want you to be girthy. They want you to be able to have a lot of skill. And in the case of Simmons Fisher, he's a fighter. He can drop the gloves. And, you know, with Matt Rempe being in the New York Rangers, that's what teams are looking for. So I think Sergei has a leg up a little bit, maybe on Chandler Lynch, in the point of he's got some size to him, and I think that's important.
Well, I mean, if you also look at it, he's pretty young too, so that could also be something that's helpful as he's younger. He might be able to move faster. He might be able to move longer. That's true.
That's very, very true. So we'll see defensively when they get into training camp. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about the goaltending. Now, I think goaltending is pretty simple, right? I mean, we've got Nolan Egbert. He's back for his third year. We got Connor McAnanama. He's coming back for his third year. And then Wyatt Freelander, he's coming in. He's the rookie. Now, being at the 20th position, which normally wasn't there last year or the year before, the 20th position can only be used for a goaltender. I think it's pretty simple. You come in and, you know, for Wyatt to actually earn that spot and be that 20th guy and that third goaltender, all he has to do is come in and really just work his tail off and show Coach Sherwood, I'm worth paying even if I don't get into many games. So I think it's very important. He just comes in with the right mindset, knowing he may not play the number one goaltender minutes or even the number two goaltender minutes. He might, but it's not going to happen immediately. If he comes in with the right attitude, I think he's going to be fine. He'll be in there. And I think goaltending, listen, again, until you beat the Binghamton Black Bears, you can't complain about the goaltending because for the last 2 years, it's been solid.
Yeah, I think you kind of hit it right on the nail with having the right mindset, especially I think having three goaltenders is a great idea. I think it kind of eases, you know, the pressure for the whole year. Like if something were to happen to one of your goaltenders, you're not too worried. But at the same time, I think having the right mindset of you might not play very many games and you have to know that going in, especially if you're the rookie and especially if you're coming into a team that's got Connor McAnanama on it and Nolan Egbert. I mean, the goalie tandem last year, if you just looked at that, you've got to know coming in that you might not get that many games and you have to be okay with that. Yeah. Because I know just looking at the way that Sherwood has done the last couple of years, from the first year, it was like they switched the goalies on and off throughout the whole year. They didn't really play consecutively. Even when we had three goalies before, you could kind of see that it was hard to kind of have a flow because you wanted them all to play. You wanted them to all get good numbers. You wanted them to have that, especially Sam, because, you know, he was younger. You wanted him to kind of, you know, get the feel for it. Yeah. So it's hard to have three goalies because you want them all to be able to play. Like, you have to keep them fresh enough. But you also, for, like, Connor's sake, if he's playing and he's playing good, he doesn't want to get taken out of the game. No. He wants to stay fresh constantly. Yeah. And that's the only tricky part I see about this, but I do think it's a good idea. Yeah. And you're 100% correct. I mean, managing goaltenders and giving them minutes is so tricky. It's so difficult. And, you know, easily Brant Sherwood will admit to you, he will say, listen, I can't get into the mindset of a goaltender. I wasn't a goaltender. I didn't like goaltenders. And he only didn't like them because he was always trying to score on them, and he didn't score a lot on them, right? So he's got to figure that out. And, you know, we'll see if they bring in a goaltending coach again like they did last year. I'm not sure if that's going to happen again this year. I really do think that if honestly either one of the other two goaltenders needs to ask a question, Connor's coached before. I think he's got a good mindset to be able to maybe help sit down and analyze what's going on with, like, maybe Eggy or Freelander, that type of thing. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Again, I think they're in a good position. I think it's tricky to figure out who's going to get all the playing time and the minutes and all that stuff. Obviously, we know Connor, unless something crazy happens, he's
He's the number one guy going in, and I think everybody knows that.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a given.
Yep. All right. So where it gets more interesting, I think, for Brant Sherwood is with the forward positions. Because, the way I've mapped it out, I see two lines that are easy to build. Now, whether or not you get into training camp and these lines still work together is a different story, right? Because things can change from time to time. But I see CJ Stubbs as the first line right wing. Tyson Kirkby is the first line center, and then Austin Thompson being the first line left wing. Okay, easy peasy. On the second line, I would see Gavin Yates being the left wing on the second line, like he has been the last couple seasons. And he's moved around just a little bit, but mostly he's been that second line left wing. Now, when it comes to the second line right wing and center, that's where I think the two new guys that have pro experience comes in, right? And of course, we're talking about Ivan Bodarenko, and we're talking about Mac Jansen. Both of those guys have played up in the SPHL for a long time and have some ECHL experience. But someone said something to me recently that said, well, maybe you take those 6 guys and realistically spread them out amongst the 3 lines. And maybe the first line has a guy like Cam Clark on the first line. And maybe Scott Romikers, if he comes back, is on the second line. Maybe Nick Swan is on one of those lines. And you take the 6 guys, instead of putting them on just 2 lines, you separate them into 2 guys on each line, and then you mix in one of the newer guys in there. Maybe a Zach Sirota gets mixed in on the third line with, say, like CJ Stubbs and, Bodarenko, that type of thing. It'll be interesting to see how this all comes out. And I can tell you right now that Brant Sherwood is really high on Tim Kim. He's really high on what this kid might be able to do when he gets into here. So it'll be very interesting. And again, he's a kid from Vancouver, British Columbia. He's got some skill, and he's really high on him. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, you and I kind of have the same mindset about the lines, and going through what you just said about kind of switching things up. I can understand where this person was coming from. Just kind of looking at last year, like when we had the call-ups that we did, watching kind of, you have to plug in certain people to fill the spots that were taken. Mm-hmm. And you kind of, they either excelled in that spot because they had to, or you kind of watch that third line take over and they excelled that night because the spotlight was on them, kind of a thing.
I agree. All right. So going into camp, who do we have? We have Darian Benchik. We have Ivan Bondarenko. We have Cam Clark. We have Zachary Desmaris, Emerson Emery. We didn't even talk about Emerson Emery. I mean, that's a guy that can bounce back and forth between defense and forward. You got Mac Jansen, Tim Kim. We have Tyson Kirkby, of course, the captain. He'll be the captain this upcoming year as well. Cody Rumsey, Jacob Shankar, Zach Sirota, CJ Stubbs, Nick Swan, Austin Thompson, and Gavin Yates. And, I got to be honest with you. Out of these guys, Gavin is starting to get up there a little bit, and, he's one of the 93 guys. I think CJ Stubbs is 90. 93 is Mac Jansen. My apologies. Gavin Yates is 95. So it may be important to make sure that some of these kids that may not make the team initially be on a short lease, that you keep them around, because you never know when a couple of the older guys needs a weekend off, maybe needs a night off, that type of thing. And I hate to say it, but I'm being realistic. And by saying that, you kind of almost want like a Tim Kim, a Cody Rumsey, a Shankar, being close around, even if they don't make the team initially, somehow, some way, keeping them close, because you never know when you might need them for a couple of your older guys.
Yeah, you really got to stop being a downer about these guys. I'm just kidding, but I do. It does make a lot of sense. I've kind of noticed throughout the last 4 years, especially.
Yeah.
Just through the FPHL, because I don't pay close attention to the other leagues like I do this one.
Yeah.
If you kind of look at the rosters, we went from a lot of guys that were kind of spread out from even the 80s to the early 90s to now you really got like the early 2000s, and that's kind of what you're going for. Is it seems to get like you're going for the younger generation each year.
Well, I can tell you, even when I was covering the HL, this is how it went. I mean, it's gotten to the point now where guys who are playing, I graduated in 91. Okay. That just tells you how old I am. Right. And I always based on when were guys born versus when I graduated. Right. So when did you graduate from high school?
2015.
2015. All right. So you are much older than me, or much younger than me. There's nobody here that was born after that time period, of course, because they would be only like 9 years old anyways. So, but that's how I kind of gauged it about how old I felt compared to some of these guys that I was covering back then. Was just like, all right, were you born, after I graduated in 91? And luckily, up through 2015, I did not have to worry about that. But now that I'm back, it's like nobody was, born at that, in 91 or earlier. I'm trying to look here to see if there's anybody on this team that are even close other than Mac Jansen, who was born in 93. Yeah, that's it, I think. Where's CJ Stubbs? Oh, he was 94. So.
Yeah, I think your closest would have been Don.
Yeah, probably.
And even then, I don't remember.
I think Don is 94 or 93 as well. Oh, God, I feel
there was
old.
Somebody, I can't remember. We had somebody that was 88 or 89, I think.
Are you sure? Wow.
I think this was like the first or second year, though.
It's possible. Yeah, because a couple of those guys, Cam Yarwood was, a little bit older. But yeah, there was a couple guys. All right. So the team staff coming into, obviously, camp, Brant Sherwood's the head coach. Tyson Kirkby is going to be player assistant coach. Mason Esworthy, I know he's going to have some duties. No, he's coaching out in Elmira. He's doing one of the junior teams out there, but he's still going to be doing some assistant coach work with Brant Sherwood. He's going to be so close he can go back and forth. Elise Wilbur will be the trainer. Of course, Aiden, John, and Chris will be the EQ managers. We got 7 defensemen coming in, 3 netminders, 15 forwards, and 16 returning players. Again, I think this is a nice little conglomerate of players from rookies to pros to veterans that I think is going to go pretty well. And I think this is going to be a nice, fun camp for these guys, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, I can already tell that the other fan bases are going to be mad that we have this many returning guys. So I know that's going to be the basis of all the boos the start of the season. So
the dislike, the hate that we'll get because we're so good is because, they got so many returning players.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it was last year. So I'm sure that it'll just repeat again this year.
So with that being said, training camp is off limits to the fans. However, Taylor, let's go through some of the things that the fans can do before the start of the season, because there are some pretty cool activities that the Black Bears and the Booster Club have going on, and I'll let you get started on that.
All righty. So in just 2 days, so this Friday, the Black Bears are going to have an open house. So just to reiterate, September 19th, Friday evening, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., you will be inside the arena. You can get to see the shiny cup with the new engraved plaque.
Yep.
They have locker room tours. They will have meet and greets with the players and select championship merchandise.
Yeah, and it's going to be not all the players. There's going to be a few players in town. There has been a few players in town almost all year. Tyson Kirkby, who got married this past weekend. I don't know if you saw that. But
I saw somebody made a post about it, and yeah. that's how I found out. But
yeah, so congratulations
you can congratulate him.
Yeah, Tyson and Britt, congratulations from the Power Play Post Show. Very cool. It looked like from the pictures I saw, very small ceremony, not many people there. I think parents on his side, parents on her side, and I think Tyson's brothers. I think those are Tyson's brothers, but I could be wrong. I think so. But yeah, so there will be a few people there. It's a fun thing. Go out there, do it. See the locker room. If you've never seen the locker room, go out there, see a couple of the players that are going to be there. Check out the new engraved Commissioner's Cup. I did not look to see if it was engraved at the press conference for the AHL preseason game, so I haven't even seen it yet, but I will not be there on Friday. I have plans on Friday, so I will not be there, but it's one of the good events that you can do. One of the other things you can do as well is go to the Booster Club meeting on October 1st. Become a member. There's going to be players there. They're already promoting that there are going to be some players there on October 1st, which will be next week, which I think is Tuesday? Next Tuesday?
I think so.
Well,
Tuesday or Wednesday?
Yeah,
Wednesday.
It's Wednesday, right? And then the season ticket pickup party is Thursday, October 2nd. So you're right. October 1st is a Wednesday. The season ticket pickup party Thursday, October 2nd at Tully's from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. as well. I've never been there for that. Have you been there for that before?
We attempted last year. I don't remember. We went somewhere else for dinner because we were going to attempt to go there, and we got to the parking lot and it was so packed. Yeah. The line was so far out the door that we were like, we will just get our tickets at the arena. We're going to go to Texas Roadhouse for dinner because there was no way to get in those doors. And we're like, that's way too many people. We had a toddler with us. We're like, we're not going to try to chance that.
No. I totally get it. Okay. So, but it's supposed to be the same as the last previous years. Basically you go in, you get a table and you can pick up your tickets. Staff from the Black Bears will be there for that. So you got that you can do. Also, then on October 4th, Saturday, it's the second annual Black Bears Booster Club Golf Tournament. Now, you have to be signed up for that already. You can't just show up and hang out with the players on that one. So there are things for the fans to be able to do. But there's also one more thing that we want to talk about, which is really the Syracuse Crunch and Utica Comets game, because there's maybe been some confusion about that. And Taylor, I'll let you read through that.
So this is, as Bob just mentioned, about the AHL preseason game. The Black Bears are not selling tickets for the AHL preseason game. You have 3 ways to get tickets. You can either get them from the Syracuse Crunch, the Mirabito box office at the arena in Binghamton, or from Ticketmaster.com. But that does not mean you go to the 3rd floor of the arena because the Black Bears will direct you back to the box office.
Yeah. So, the agreement when they set this up was that the Black Bears, because the Black Bears, they're not really making bank on this, right? They're not making money, and they've got their own preseason camp to work on. So the agreement was that the box office would sell tickets, the Syracuse box office. So up there in Syracuse at the War Memorial, you can go up there and buy tickets there. And if you go to the box offices, you don't pay Ticketmaster fees. But if you want to just go through Ticketmaster.com because you don't want to get up off your couch, but you still want to go to the game, you're going to pay some fees, but you can go to Ticketmaster. So there are 3 ways to do it.
And that game is on October 3rd at the arena with a start time of 7:05. And we would also just like to be clear that it is unknown whether any of the Black Bear players or staff will be there other than Brooks, but it is possible.
Yeah, so Brooks is kind of going to be helping out the Syracuse Crunch people up in the box off or up in the press box. So he'll be up there probably running errands and doing things like that. But without a doubt, just understand, this is more of a Syracuse Crunch thing doing this. So be nice to the 3rd floor. They're not going to sell you the tickets for this. So go down to the box office. If you come to the arena to buy tickets for the preseason game, do it at the box office. Again, it's a preseason game for Syracuse and Utica in Binghamton. So it's really more about them. I still think it's going to be fun for the fans to go to the game, to see some of these guys who might make the NHL someday play. But, again, the Black Bears are going to be dealing with their own preseason in their camp, and they don't need a lot of distractions during that. That's why Syracuse is handling most of the stuff.
Yeah, and if nothing else, you can just, go to the game, get your hockey fix, and see some of your hockey family that you haven't seen maybe all summer. Who knows?
Yeah, very, very true. I'm going to be there at least for the first period. So I was supposed to leave at like 2:00 in the afternoon to go away. I go away every weekend, that first weekend in October, because hockey usually starts the second weekend for Binghamton. I usually go away on the first weekend of October. But because of the preseason game and because I do want to see a little bit of it, I have now extended our departure time till 8:00. So I'll be leaving the arena no matter what, 8:00 and heading south.
Well, hopefully nothing interesting happens that makes you want to stay a little bit longer.
No, nothing that will matter in the sense of I want, Binghamton Black Bears wise, nothing is going to happen. So I will definitely I'll be exiting. As soon as the first period is done, I'll be walking out the door. But I'll at least be there because I do want to see it, take some pictures. I have a new lens that I want to, test, and that's going to be, that first period will be a perfect first test to be able to do that with. So, which is good. All right. So we are going to step aside for a second and we are going to play the interview with Brooks Hill. And then Taylor and I will be back right after the Brooks Hill interview right here on the Power Play Post Show.
You're listening to the Power Play Post Show. Here is another Power Play Post Show interview exclusive with Bob Howard.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. I am sitting here at the Broome County Veterans Memorial Arena. It's the Visions Veterans Memorial Arena, one of your guys' sponsors, if I remember correctly. And I'm sitting next to the, 2 years ago, he was only the Broadcaster of the Year. He's been a great guest and a great friend to this show. He is from the Binghamton Black Bears. He is Brooks Hill. Brooks, welcome back to the show.
Oh, appreciate it. Good to be back on.
Let's talk a little bit about the first thing that I see here. There's some placements of the banners that are a little bit different this year here at the arena. I know you are not in charge of that, but some new banners have been placed up there. The banners have been moved around a little bit. What are your thoughts of the view right now as we're looking out here? There's a stage being set up for ZZ Top. If you don't have your tickets for that, I'm not being sponsored by them, so don't go there just because I said so. But we got a stage, we got some chairs, and then, of course, we got some new banners and new places.
Yeah, so one thing that we've taken care of this summer in the off season is the arena did ask EJ to consolidate some of the banners that have been hanging up in the rafters for quite a while, specifically from the past iterations of minor pro hockey here that have played in the Veterans Memorial Arena, which is now proudly sponsored by Visions Federal Credit Union, as you mentioned before.
Yes.
So people will notice that there is a lot less divisional banners that are hanging up. It's because each team now has one for all of their banners that they have accomplished. So all of the Iceman division champions are under one banner flag that has the Iceman logo. All of the division championships that the Rangers won are all under their logo as well,
right,
and so on for everybody. The Black Bears right now, since they are the current iteration, still have their two division champion banners hung up already. Surprise, surprise, the division banner is already up. There's not really a big ceremony for that one. The Calder Cup from the 2011 BSIN's days is still up. Sits right next to the 2024 Commissioner Cup banner that the Black Bears have. We obviously weren't going to move that AHL championship banner, and then the 2025 one after the opening night festivities will be placed over next to the 2024.
Yeah, no, it's nice, it's clean, it gives room for more banners. Basically, essentially, that was kind of, I think the arena's point here was like we need to make room for more banners because the Black Bears continue to be successful, right? When you win 2 out of the 4 years that you're in this league and you win, 2 championships, you got to make room for some of these banners, and the championship banners are so much bigger. I like it. It's different. I was a little bit shocked when I saw it, but the fans who will come, I think, open house is this upcoming Friday, correct?
It is. Yeah. It is. Open house this Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. It's going to be here at the arena. Going to be a good time, and we invite everybody to just go ahead, come out. It's also a good opportunity to pay off your season tickets if you haven't taken the opportunity to do so yet. You still have time, because we do have our season ticket holder pickup party coming up on October 2nd as well. So 2 big events to really get the people in the mood for hockey season. We're going to have some players at both events who will be able to sign some things, take pictures with friends, family, and whoever you bring to the arena.
Can I bring my cat and get a picture taken with it?
Probably if you were outside. I don't know if the arena allows pets in here.
Can I bring my motorcycle inside? I'm just checking off the boxes here and have the players get on there and take pictures with it.
Normally, I would say no, but this summer they were having all the cars in here for like car seat instructional classes.
Oh, really?
They've actually done it the last 2 summers, so there'll be some days where the entire floor is just covered in people's cars, and I don't know if they're the ones teaching people how to do it or they're being taught how to do it. I've never really dove too deep into it, but they have different kind of cars. Like you have a sedan, a crossover, an SUV, a minivan, pickup truck, things like that, and then the one day they'll have like a little drive-through, like carpool lane, like out front of the arena, just like where they're doing stuff with children's car seats.
Okay,
things like that. So
very interesting, very interesting. All right, so obviously, anything else at the open house that fans can enjoy?
I think it's just going to be a very exciting night to get people in the mood for. Get people in the mood for hockey season. Some of the guys have started coming into town a little bit early. Some of them have been here the entire summer.
Tyson moved here. He and I talked about this, and he's moved here. I think he just recently did I see he got married too?
Yes.
Wow.
Yep. They did.
That's very awesome.
I can't say that was at the Broome County Courthouse because I can't confirm that. They might have gone back to the Oswego area.
Sure. Because that's where she's from, correct?
That's where they met at Oswego.
Oswego. Yeah, college. Yep. My bad.
So, congratulations to the Kirkbys now.
Yeah.
And I want to give a special shout out to Tyson. Tyson was our celebrity in the Security Mutual Life golf tournament.
Oh, very cool.
That we played in this past summer with the Black Bears office. And full transparency, Tyson did make a chip in for Eagle. That won us the only skin of that tournament.
Wow.
So
who was the best player on the team?
Tyson, without question.
Without a doubt. Okay.
I hate admitting it because last year at the Booster Club golf tournament, it was my only goal was to place better than Tyson's team. And I think he outshot me, Brant, Yates, and Mr. Yates by, I think, their team edged us out by 2 strokes that day. I hadn't played golf with Tyson or against Tyson since then. And then him being on my team, holy cow, that was a different. He mashes the ball so far off the tee. And like all of our par 5s we were on into.
Wow.
So Jesse did a great job as well. He played with us. Andreas had a last-minute cancellation, so we called Jesse to see if he would fill in. And he was a big contributor as well. And then Bobby and Trevor, along with me, was our squad. Really weird tournament because you play with 5 in that one. Yep. So it does take a while, but it's a great day. And then great food afterwards. Just all in all, it was a really fun day. And it was nice to play with Tyson rather than play against him because I've now seen it. Like when he's able to use his full bag and he doesn't have to keep the driver away, that he'd be a very tough guy to beat.
Wow.
Doesn't make too many mistakes.
So speaking of the summertime, during the summertime, fans, a lot of the, the front office staff they got to take some time off because you can't do it really all that much during the season. But then you also have a lot of hard work to do to get ready for the next season. So we've talked about this before. Talk a little bit about the personal time you took off. I know you went back to North Carolina at least twice, maybe? Twice?
I went to South Carolina early, like as soon as the season was over for a buddy's wedding from high school. I
remember that, yeah.
That was in the Myrtle Beach area, which was really great because I hadn't been to Myrtle Beach in probably 5 years. Funny enough, ECU was playing Coastal Carolina the same weekend.
Nice.
So I actually got to go see them play baseball one time, and I got sunburned so bad. It was a high noon game, and Coastal has AstroTurf for their outfield, so a lot of heat coming off.
People don't realize, if you've never been around AstroTurf high noon, it is hot, blazing. It could be 70 degrees outside of the stadium or outside of where the thing is, but when you're in there, it'll increase the heat by 20 to 25 degrees easily.
Yeah.
Maybe even more than that.
That was just really cool because I got to go to, I arrived into town on Thursday night, went to a welcome party. Friday night, they had a full rehearsal dinner, and then I would say another welcome party because more people came into town. Because neither one of them are from the Myrtle Beach area. That's just where one of them families vacation.
Right.
So we did that, and then Saturday was the actual wedding ceremony, and then flew back out on Sunday. So that was really cool. But did just get back from about 10-day vacation down in North Carolina. Where I got to spend a lot of time with my parents and friends from high school, ran into some from college, went to Greenville for a day, saw ECU play Campbell in person. I hadn't seen ECU play in Greenville in football since 2022, right before I moved up here. And they lost the last game that I saw in the stadium in overtime. So now I have a pleasant memory from the last game that I went into. So that was really cool. Played a ton of golf with my dad and some friends. But just seeing people. I think I went out to dinner every single night except for 2 because one thing that I've realized is I'm on vacation, so I can do whatever I want all day. My friends,
they're working.
They're working their regular day jobs, so I can't do anything until 5 or 6 o'clock with them.
Yeah.
So a lot of days, you sleep in. Maybe you go play a round of golf during the day. Both my parents are retired, and I will say that was weird because that's the first time I had been home with both of them being retired.
We've talked about this. One of the first times you were on the show, you talked about how your mom was just retiring a few years ago.
Yeah, so
how's she handling retirement?
Let's see here. Well, she retired in April. So she retired in April. My dad's been retired since January of 24.
Okay.
So he had about a year head start on her, and anytime they got into an argument while I was at home this weekend or last weekend, it was just literally, I can't believe I let you convince me to retire. And then things like that. But they got some big trips planned. They're going on a Viking cruise.
Nice.
Coming up in October that I know they're looking forward to. And I believe my dad is actually working out the process for me and him and one of his golf buddies and his son to go to Europe for a golf trip. And I believe, let's see here, from now we're in 2025, in 2027. So 2 years down the road, they're starting to go to meetings about that and try to find out pricing and everything like that. And I just kind of told him, I was like, Dad, I don't really think this is really in the budget right now for that. He's like, oh, well, I guess you can probably just be my guest. And so for the rest of my life, if this golf trip happens, he will hold that over my head. So I'm already going, he's getting a 2-year head start on that.
How important is it for you to get down there and just spend this time with them during the summertime for your friends, your family, your parents? How important is that? Because I know sometimes you start to miss home during the regular season.
Yeah, and I think that would go with anybody. If they were in a similar circumstance, I'm definitely not the, only person that this has ever been an issue with. But it is important for me, being an only child, that I do see my parents as much as possible. Like, for instance, they were upset with me last night because I had been 6 days since I had called them on the phone. I was like, well, you know what? Like, I thought we were taking a break. I was just with you for 10 days. But apparently I was in the wrong there, so I did talk to them for an hour on the phone last night.
I'm married to an only child, and I know how this is. I've been married to her for since 2002, 23 years. And if they went 2 days, 3 days without talking to each other, something was wrong. Somebody was mad at somebody. And, of course, I'm the one that has to help fix that.
Yeah. And it's not a secret that I'm the transplant in our front office, like with the Black Bears.
Yes.
Even EJ, who just lives in, northern PA, just across the state line and drives in every day. Trevor, Kelsey, Alex has family around here. Mm-hmm. I'm roommates with Bobby and his family. I live in their in-law suite and have ever since I've, moved here with the Black Bears.
Right.
So it is.
So if you don't pay the rent, they just call Andreas.
Yeah, well, I have to. Yeah, they'll probably be like, "Oh, like, hey, like, you should probably get rid of that Brooks guy." But I haven't missed one yet, so hopefully that doesn't happen.
That's good.
I try to, stay connected to the people down there. Also, like in my real friend group, mm-hmm. whether it's from high school or like the YMCA that I was really involved with, or like my church's youth group. There's not too many of us who have gone far distances. I believe the only one from high school that I can think of off the top of my head that isn't in North Carolina is out in Arizona. And I got to see him at the wedding in South Carolina, so that was really cool. But some days during the season when things aren't just going your way, and then it can be the same for a player in the locker room who are, thousands of miles away from home. Me, I'm only about 500 miles away, but
it's still a long distance, no matter what.
Yeah. And you think about it, and sometimes the dark thoughts come into your head, what am I doing here? I'm sure I'm gonna have that again this winter when I'm freezing my butt off, walking to my car.
I can tell you, Brooks does not like the cold weather up here when it gets cold.
No, I don't. I do think it's terrible. The good thing is it stayed hot a lot longer this summer, so maybe it's going to carry over, and we're going to have a nice and timid winter instead of what we had last year. I like to tell people I have the only 2-wheel drive Tahoe in Binghamton. That's my claim to fame when they see the car now. So because down south, people don't really have 4-wheel drive because that's a luxury package item when you buy SUVs. The cars down there, no car in North Carolina has 4-wheel drive.
That's so weird to me.
Yeah, you have to buy an SUV and you got to buy a big one. My mom's Suburban doesn't even have 4-wheel drive.
That's weird. It's a Suburban. It's got to have it. Okay, so that's the personal side of things, during the summertime. What about what has the back office done to make this upcoming season even more special for the Black Bears? What kind of things did you guys have to work on? Of course, we know ticket sales, corporate sponsorship, those are all very important. But what are the kind of the things that you guys work on to try to make the experience for you guys and for the Black Bears fans very special?
So what people might not know is the first thing that happens every off season, and it's literally 2 weeks after the season's over, is they have league meetings.
Yeah.
This past summer they were in Athens compared to Chicago normally.
Yeah.
Andreas asked if I wanted to go, but knowing that I had the wedding coming up in South Carolina, and these do happen, this happens in the middle of the week. And the wedding was the same weekend, and I was like, I don't want to take that time off, and then just also be gone for that wedding. So Trevor and Bobby went along with Brant.
Yeah.
So first thing they do there is, they want to go over rule changes, what worked well this year, what didn't work well, things that they want to bring up. This year they did the expansion draft and the didn't make the playoffs draft. They're at the league meetings where that's happened after in years past since I've been involved. And they really try to hammer out scheduling. A lot of people obviously get dates from their arena, like when you have concerts or, other sporting events.
Yeah.
And so everyone starts to put together like their blackout dates to be like, hey, we cannot play at home these dates.
Yeah.
It's not just a Black Bears thing. It happens everywhere across the league. Like, we know that they're going to have the state basketball tournament here again this year.
Yep.
We know that even though it's not affecting the regular season, we know ZZ Top is coming to the arena, and they have to set up their stage and cover the floor, or in this case, they can't start the process of putting the ice in yet because they have this concert coming up.
Yeah.
So that's those things like that they try to hammer out, and
that concert's a week from when we're recording right now on Tuesday, the 23rd. So when the fans come in for the open house, they're going to see a stage. They're going to see chairs and stuff, within the arena floor, if they can see that part, which I'm sure they'll be able to. And so you're going to see that kind of stuff there. But these are the types of things that, to get a schedule worked out, you have to work around.
Yeah, and then they go through I think we were on 9 drafts of the schedule this year. And then Andreas will send it to us. Like, what do we think about the dates? Like, Bobby, Trevor, and Kelsey have been here all 5 years. We're getting ready to celebrate the 5th anniversary of the Black Bears being being the minor pro hockey team in the city of Binghamton.
Yep.
They have a pretty good opinion, and quite frankly, they kind of have the facts to back it up too. Of, hey, these are the dates that we tend to do better attendance-wise.
Sure.
So we try to push back a little bit when we can. Obviously, you want to minimize the travel costs as much as possible.
Yes.
Like last year, we ended up going to Mississippi. We were down there for 4 days, and then
the worst part though was it was during a cold snap in Mississippi, or at the tail end of it. Really.
No, it was bad because the people down there, as we flew into New Orleans, they don't have snow plows. Biloxi
and there was ice all over the place.
Yes, it was very bad. That was a long bus ride to the hotel that night, and then when we flew to Athens during the regular season as well. So obviously that not a secret to anybody.
No.
That has a big cost added to it. So this year, we don't really have that necessarily big, long road trip. As of right now, I don't think we have any flights that we actually have to schedule. Now, obviously, come playoff time, might have to.
Right.
But right now, we don't have anything on the books for that. So you try to work through stuff like that. You start the process of finding out, hey, this is where we want to stay when we go there. There are some places that we don't like staying at the hotel, so we try to find a different one. There are places that you need to book way ahead of time, things like that. So try to help out Brant with that just a little bit. I know that's something that came up in some of my interviews this summer, is how much of the team services aspect I was involved in. So just doing stuff like that, and then you already alluded to the season ticket sales and the corporate sales. That's the big meat and potatoes of the summer job for the office. But
and Andreas said that it appeared to him that those things had gone up.
Yeah.
From last year to this year, corporate sponsorships and season ticket sales have gone up. And that's only a positive. I mean, because the schedule is good in the sense that there's a lot of Friday and Saturday games, right? Only 2 games during the weekend. I think the 2 Wednesday games.
Yeah.
Right?
And those are holiday games.
So a lot of weekend games. But unfortunately, after February 1st, there's not a lot of home games. And so my question to you guys is, have you guys had that conversation of how do we keep our attendance at 4,300 plus when after the holiday, when fans really start to come out to Binghamton to see hockey games, there's going to be less home games this year than maybe in years past?
Well, people have been impressed with how well the Black Bears have played on the ice the last 2 years. I think people are going to be impressed with how well the front office is going to perform this season with attendance-wise, because it is a challenge.
It is.
Because we looked at the numbers, and as you said, typically after after the college kids come back from Christmas break in the new year in every season.
First, second week of January, yep.
That's when attendance starts to get more, I would say, more consistent.
Yes. Yeah, because you have your solid games, before Christmas. You have your solid games that can hit 4,300, maybe even a sellout or two, right? But it's really after that first or second week in January when the college kids come back and they're looking for something to do because it's winter and they hate it as much as Brooks does here, right? They start coming out more consistently and those numbers go up. So I'm looking to see what you guys do and how you guys perform in that sense because it's a big thing. I mean, going from 3,000 the first year on average attendance, and I know you weren't here the first year, right? If you were here, it would have been 3,500 easily. But, from 3,000 to 4,300 in just 4 years, that's progression in such a great manner that there's only a couple factors there that really play into that. The team plays well, and they engage with the fans, and the front office works their tail off.
Yeah, they do. I mean, there are a lot of hard workers up there. It's a great team to be a part of. They've all become my friends. And quite frankly, because of them, I've met other people in Broome County to be friends with. When I moved up here, I didn't know a single person.
Yeah.
And
now you have a community of friends.
Yes. And, Bobby kind of spearheaded that because I was living with him, and he was kind of forced to be my friend because we worked together and lived together. But I've met a ton of his friends from Shenango Valley High School who, I play PlayStation with.
Right.
And I play pickleball with and golf. Trevor's friends from Vestal, invite me to go do things. We go to EJ's house during the summer because he has a pool and a hot tub, things like that. It's just kind of...
I've seen pictures at that pool. It's a pretty nice view, too.
It is. Literally, my picture on my phone, on my background, is a picture of me at EJ's pool on 4th of July.
It's a great-looking pool. EJ, you haven't invited me out there. That's because I'm a Dallas fan and you're a Philly fan. I get that, but it's a nice-looking pool.
Yeah, the Worth family knows how to throw a party.
Yeah.
Especially a holiday cookout. That's really good.
Do you guys change Do you change anything different for the banner raising ceremony for the second one? Because if it's not broke, why fix it? Does anything change? Or is it just all right, listen, get the guys in front, let Eddie Bello and his team do what they do with the effects and, stuff like that, and then just raise that damn banner and play hockey?
Well, I think some of the effects will definitely be different this year because you don't want to always have the same thing 2 years in a row. And I can tell you that Illuminations is sponsoring the banner raising again, and he's already gone through some ideas that I have been asked about, the input for, and I think it's going to be really cool. Obviously, we want to make sure that some things stay a secret and a surprise for the fans for opening night. It's going to be worth your while. I think it's going to be very cool, very bright. No secret that the banner is going to look exactly the same as the last year's. It's just going to have a different number on it.
Really? So we're going to keep the same kind of style there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Stay consistent.
Yeah. You know what I like? My seat is usually seat 1 here. I'm sitting in that right now as we're doing this interview. Literally, the championship banners are right in front of me.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good view. And I think maybe there's... now that we have the YouTube channel back, we can go and
we haven't talked about that yet.
Yeah, that's I'm sure that was one of the things that you wanted to talk about. I can go back and I can watch that night, and then we can look to see how long that takes. Obviously, from any player or coach's standpoint, you want to do that as quick as possible and get it over with.
Yep.
From the fan standpoint, you kind of want to let it linger a little bit because it does get the crowd excited. It builds emotion, and it also, it does help with concession sales and merchandise sales that people want to they're going to come early and they're going to spend money early.
Well, I've said many times, the banners here are for the fans. The rings are for the players and the staff. Because the rings you take home with you, you do not take those banners. Those banners are for the fans. For as long as there's a hockey team, as long as this arena exists, those are for the fans. And so I can understand that. It's a great point. The fans want it to linger a little bit and go a little bit longer, and the players are like, all right, let's get this damn thing up and let's get out there and start playing hockey.
Yeah, and this year I think they're going to come out, guns blaze on banner raising night. No, last year we lost to Watertown at the first home game. After we had that banner raising ceremony, and after the game I was talking to some of the guys because that was the last game of our weekend, and we were downtown, and I just asked, like, what did you feel about that game? And he said, multiple guys said that's honestly the best thing that could have happened for us. Is it kind of was a wake up call.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, we can't be complacent. I think Brant said something along the same lines as that, but probably with some words that can't repeat here on a podcast that kids listen to.
No, that's true.
But in all seriousness, like, he had also said, like, I think, like, we're going to be just fine, but that's probably a great time to lose one at home, even though it is a big night. People were energetic, things like that. But we're not going to win all 56 games. We come close. Yeah. But I'm going to go ahead and say that we're not going to win all 56 games this year.
Okay, so that was a prediction. Okay, not going to win all 56 games.
Not going to win all 56 games. But I really think they are going to win the first one this year.
I hope so, because I was upset. I loved the banner raising ceremony. It was beautiful. It was great. I'm probably one of the few people that have been on the ice for both. The 2011 and the 2024.
That's a good stat. That's a good stat to have.
It is. I was on the ice for both of those. I've got video of that one going up and video of that one going up, although I did not shoot that well with my camera. I'm hoping to do much better this year. But I was there and took some pictures for both. I'll be down there for the third one, which is kind of a neat little thing. But I wasn't happy about the game at all. But Brant said on the coaches show at Tully's with you and with me, basically, it was the game we needed. And to me, that was like, I didn't see it that way. All I saw was like, man, I just wanted them to win that game.
Well, I think, take a look at the first. Okay, so we win the first championship.
Yeah.
How many people did we return who played on that team to the people who were on the team that banner raising night? And primarily, it was almost exactly the same team.
Yeah.
There wasn't a whole lot of change.
No.
So
a couple rookies who had been there for a couple games, blah, blah, blah. But yeah.
So it's a little bit of a wake-up call. Last year, I believe we were able to have all of our training camp here at the arena.
This year, not so much.
Not so much.
We're
moving
4
around.
days, 5 days at BCC.
Yeah, the schedule changes like every day. So
okay.
I just...
So the one that I've seen is different than...
It could be. I don't know which one you've seen.
Mine was like about 10 days ago, so it's probably changed since last time I saw it.
So we have... I think some of the guys, I don't want to say spoiled, but when there's a lot of familiar faces, they get it. Hey, they understand what Brant's message is.
Yeah.
And yes, they all know that training camp is going to be hard. At some point, it's going to suck.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get bag skated, things like that. And then, quite frankly, from the year before that, it's like, oh, we ran through Watertown every time we played them. Like, we boat raced them.
Yeah.
Really wasn't much of a contest. Well, did Watertown have did they have as many of the same guys as we did that night? No. They actually had some new guys.
Yeah.
Some guys who had been in the league. And
they looked good for 3 weeks, and then after that, boom.
And you know what? They played a better game than we did that singular night.
Yeah.
So
and it was
hats off to them because they deserved it. But like you said, the banner for the fans, it's really great. Earlier in that week, we're going to have the ring ceremony for the players and staff here at the arena. The rings have come in. They look fantastic, and EJ did a great job designing them with our friends over at Barron.
Mm-hmm.
For that, I've only been kind of like clued in here the last month or so, working with Barron's like media department on the way that they wanted They wanted to hear our opinion on like the way they wanted to be teased, released,
right?
Things like that. They asked for a quote for a press release that they're writing about it as well, because Barron just doesn't make FPHL champion rings. They make a ton of championship rings
for many
everything.
leagues.
I believe they do the NBA finals.
Yeah, they do.
They do the CFL for the Grey Cup.
Yep.
And they do a ton of.
If you actually go to Barron's website, you'll see the ones that they do, and it's a lot.
And then they have EJ's original design for the first ring on their website.
Yeah.
So I've just been doing some Zoom calls with them the last couple of weeks. EJ's been a part of the process the whole time.
Yeah.
So he did a great job again with that. But that'll be a really fun night at the end of training camp to have like the ceremony, a nice dinner, everything like that.
I was hoping to have my special ring by opening night, but it's probably not going to come in until a few weeks in. So I'll come over and show you my special ring that I got this summer, or that I was So that'll be kind of fun and cool. So I'm excited about that. Maybe we'll take a picture with our two rings. That'd be kind of cool.
That will be.
Let's talk a little bit about the roster. I printed out a copy of the roster here. We were talking about it. At this point, as we're recording this here on Tuesday, because you never know what'll happen, 16 returning players, got 7 defensemen. One of the things that I was probably saying and maybe putting a bug into Brant's ear was that we didn't have enough defensemen. He brought in 2 rookie defensemen. So we have 7 defensemen coming into camp right now, 3 netminders and 15 forwards. I know there's a change in the FPHL rules that we might be able to hold on to a third goaltender without it affecting the main roster. So that's kind of cool. So really no choice there or cut that needs to be technically made. All 3 goaltenders could make it, I guess. But when you look at this and you look at the returning players that are coming back, the Black Bears are really in a good place.
Yeah, and the first thing when you look at this roster, I think it shows maturity from Brant's side, from his first training camp as head coach to where he is now, because this will be his third. The first one we had a ton of people,
like 30 plus.
We definitely had more than 30. His first training camp, and then they had cuts 2 days in, then 4 days in. A week, things like that.
And this, at this point, is only 25. 25 players on this roster that I've got here in front of us right at the moment.
So I think that's, I think at this point he knows who he wants to be here. I think there's definitely some competition towards the bottom of the lineup. I don't think it's a secret.
Bottom line defense, and I think the maybe the 9th, 10th forward.
Could be.
That's my thought.
I think
you got 2 solid lines, first lines.
Yeah, like truth be told, and some of those guys may even be on the third line just because of they're left-handed or right-handed, and you need to spread some of the handiness down the lineup.
And as Brant likes to call it, it's 3 first lines.
That's a good. I mean, when they score as much as the Black Bears did last year, you can say that,
right? Well, I talked about it many times. Chris Mott, Cam Clark, Scott Romakers on the third line. I mean, that was 50 goals right there.
Yeah, and I think the way that he wants training camp to run will also kind of like coincide with the way that the dynamics in the hockey world are continuing to shift more towards guys are showing up in shape.
Yeah.
Doing stuff during the off season.
So he wants to go hard right from the beginning, because if you go hard right from the beginning, because guys are in shape when they're there, then you really start to fine tune the details before you get to game 1.
I think so, and because he also wants to implement his system. So, prime example. All right, Ivan Bondarenko, Mac Jensen, great players in the SPHL, are going to play with the Black Bears this season.
Yes,
have not played for Brant Sherwood in his system. They do, even though they are A, great players, B, experienced,
and one of them was a former teammate.
Yes,
so
and then C,
knows them
highly skilled players. They still have to. They have to adjust to the way that Brant wants them to play. Same thing that we saw with CJ Stubbs last year, who wasn't in training camp. He joined the team in November.
And he had a few weeks where he was kind of slow, but then, man, when he kicked it into gear, when he finally figured out the system.
And, I think it'll only help people like Stubbs, Bondarenko, Jensen. Being here for training camp really does give you that 2 weeks to work through the kinks.
Yeah.
Is everything going to be perfect on night one for them? Probably not. Like, you know what? You move on. You got 55 games left to go and figure it out. And I think both of those guys will. I think it's exciting to see some of the guys who were the collegiate signees last year, like Dobles and Swain.
Yep.
Get the opportunity to play a full season here. Also, you bring guys like Zach Sirota, who did come in late last season. He wasn't in training camp.
No.
He spent some time with Quad City, and it didn't work out for him there, but the second half of the season, you really couldn't keep Sirota out of the lineup. Brant was struggling with, am I wasting him at 10th forward? Does he need to be on the third line? Because when he's out there, he's producing, and it might not always be a goal or an assist. We call it a hockey assist because you get 2 in this sport, where in basketball and soccer you only get 1.
Mm-hmm.
But Sirota draws a penalty, sends a guy to the box, and the Black Bears score on the power play.
That's kind of an assist.
Yes, prime example is he is contributing in those ways.
Yeah.
Obviously he's an undersized guy, but he can run his mouth and he can agitate you, and he also can take a hit, and he can also throw them too.
Yeah. It'll be very interesting to see that. Now, there's one name that's not on this piece of paper, Dylan Konecki. Our friend Dylan has moved up to the Bridgeport Islanders, which means he just went from winning, 49 games last year to probably winning about 9 games this year. And Dylan, if you're listening, that's the truth. Good luck with the Islanders. There's going to be some very long road trips back to Bridgeport once you guys have lost a game. But very excited for him because, again, this is an important step for the FPHL to see not just players but also staff go from this level on up to a higher level.
Yeah, and I'm extremely happy for Dylan, and Darian, and Tatum.
Yep,
it's huge for their family.
Yeah,
because Dylan does work his tail off. He's a great equipment guy. And any of the guys in the locker room would say the same thing.
They love
about him. He knows his stuff, and he got introduced at a very young age about what it takes to run a locker room.
Yeah,
albeit a pro locker room. Because I know his time from the Devils, he was learning, and he got some opportunities there. And then when the opportunity arose with our organization to become the head guy, he was still working his regular full-time job, I believe, it was either the city or the county, one of the two agencies. And then he would come in the afternoon, and then he would sharpen skates, fix equipment after he got off his day job, and then he would be here for the games. And then last year he was here every single day. So a very great story for him to really work his way back up into the AHL. I think he's going to do great with the Islanders.
Yeah. They're not going to win many games because they don't, but he's going to be great. And I have no doubt in my mind all the players up there will love him.
Yeah, and he's already talked about I forgot who got drafted first overall this year in the NHL draft, but I know it was the Islanders draft pick, and I remember Aiden was telling us that whatever the guy's name is, and it's blanking to me right now, he's like, this is crazy. Like, his bag and sticks are just like in my hotel room, like while they were at rookie camp for the Islanders. So I think it's pretty surreal for him right now.
Obviously, he paid it forward. Aiden's going to take over.
Yeah.
And Aiden's going to do a great job.
Yeah, I believe so. And, he's got John Brown, Chris Puzakulic.
Yes,
gosh,
Chris.
Holy cow. I literally saw Chris on Monday because he had the cup this weekend, and he brought it back. Chris's last name always messes with me. People think, you do so good, like, reading all those hard names. It's like, well, I am reading them when the players are on the ice. That is the luxury.
Have you read Sergei's last name? Have you pronounced it yet?
Yes, I have.
You don't have to try now because I haven't tried yet either. He's thinking.
Yep, is it Cherbakov?
Cherbakov. I need to hear you say it a few times.
Yep. Sherbakov. That's why it was a share and then like Barkov without the R.
Now, what's interesting about him is he's a 6'4", 185 pounds. I don't know if the 185 pounds is correct. He might be bigger than that now, but 6'4", that kind of matches up with Dan Stone, who's a big boy, right? 200 pounds, 6'4". So if he makes the team, that'll be a nice, tall, big guy to have to get around.
Yeah, I think one thing that the Black Bears have prided themselves on the last 2 years, with Brandt being the full head coach, is how well they play defensively in the structure that they play within their own zone. Dan Stone is the best defenseman in the league in terms of playing defense.
Yes.
Hands down. He is.
Dakota was probably the best offensively.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why they work so well together.
Yeah.
Is because Dakota could take chances knowing that he has Stone back there to bail him out in case he gets caught too far up the ice.
And if we could take a second here and just say congratulations to Courtney and Dakota when the baby comes in December. Congratulations. They're two of the nicest people. Congratulations to them from us. They're sweet and everything. I just talked to Courtney just a couple days ago. A funny thing that happened on Instagram, and she'll know. She'll be listening, and she'll know what I'm talking about. But yeah, again, the best two defensemen in the league. One offensively, one defensively. And Brandt's been lucky there. Now he's got to find somebody to kind of work with Dan Stone and have that offense. Now, of course, Dan Stone's offense kind of creeped up a little bit, got a little bit better last year. But I still think he's going to be a defenseman's defenseman, right? He's going to play defense, stay at home, that type of thing. Move the puck up to a puck moving forward. Maybe that's Jesse Anderson, right?
Yeah. Let's start the campaign now for Dan Stone being the defenseman of the year, even though he won't have the most points.
No, he won't.
As a defenseman.
I agree.
So let's get all the fans on the Dan Stone for Defenseman of the Year campaign. Let's go ahead and get that started.
At least he didn't turn off the lights on us. So basically, folks, you didn't hear this. I'm going to cut that part out. But someone came up, and it was this someone who works here for the arena and everything, and he's like, you're the last two here. Just make sure the doors are shut when you leave. So, but at least they didn't shut the lights off on us. That was good.
Yeah, it's probably going to come out of we're going to send you an invoice for the electric bill.
You can send it to me. I'm probably not going to pay it. I'm sorry, Broome County. Let's talk a little bit about a couple of things. We'll hit them really quick. AHL preseason game here on 10-3. It's a preseason game. FPHL doesn't do a lot of them, so the AHL coming here is very interesting. I know it's a tough thing because you guys have your own training camp that's going on at the same time. That's number one. But if the fans can come out and see some hockey a week beforehand, good for them. But it was a great press conference, though.
Thank you.
You did a great job on that.
I almost made it through the whole thing without one stutter, and I can't believe I stuttered on the name of the arena.
I called it Broome County Veterans Memorial Arena earlier, so
I know it's tough. Like, one thing I pride myself on is not having like a cue card or like a prompter.
Yeah, no.
And trying to get through it and trying to do things in one take as well.
Sure.
Like when EJ's filming a video for us. So that one was a little bit tough. I smiled like as soon as I did it because I knew how close I was. I was like, oh man, that means all the TV guys aren't going to use this footage tonight. And sure enough, I did not make any of their cuts. But nobody wanted to listen to me anyway. They all wanted to hear from Jim, Andreas, and Tom Mitchell instead. So
I always want to hear from you, by the way.
I appreciate that.
I want to say that.
I appreciate that. So, yes, AHL preseason game between Syracuse Crunch and Utica Comets. Friday, October 3rd, 7:05 start here inside the Vision Veterans Memorial Arena. Got it right that time. One thing that I can say, and maybe this will help alleviate some of the phone calls that we're getting.
Yes.
The Black Bears office is not selling tickets to this event.
Right.
You have to go through either the Syracuse Crunches office by just calling them, and they can get you tickets the same way that we would, or you have to go downstairs on the first floor of the arena to the Morabito box office.
Because they're selling the tickets.
Correct. So that's the two-way. Or third way, you can just buy them online at Ticketmaster. But I know people don't like doing that. But those are the three ways to buy tickets for the AHL preseason game. If you are a Black Bear season ticket holder, this does not guarantee your seat for the event. This is not a Black Bears event. It is just being played in the same arena that the Black Bears play. Right. But it will be cool that the Black Bears, center ice logo will be there.
That's what I said.
While those two teams are taking place.
So you heard me last week when I said that.
I did listen.
I said, listen, that's the cool thing about this is that the Black Bears logo is going to be front face right there, and that's kind of a pretty neat thing. So pretty cool. Camp starts on Monday,
the 29th.
The 29th.
Yep.
Okay, which is pretty cool. To clear up something for the fans, one more thing can you clear up?
Yeah.
Are the fans allowed to be here during camp?
So training camp is closed to the public.
Gotcha. Good. I'm glad that. Now, are they allowed to be here at practice during the regular season?
So the answer, we finished last year with that answer being yes.
Okay.
I think we're still working through, unfortunately, and I don't have to go into too many details. We did have a little snafu with fans at practice last year.
That's too bad.
And unfortunately, it is somewhat of a situation where a bad apple does spoil the bunch. But we're trying to work through some of the processes because I know people do enjoy coming to practice.
Just watching.
Yes, and then however, because they're very quick to let me know that because the team chose to take the day off or something, or they moved it back, how come we didn't say anything? Well, it's like I didn't know practice was going to get moved back. So things like that.
Yeah, gotcha.
We're working through that, and that's ultimately it's Brant's decision.
Yes.
So
he already sent a letter from a lawyer telling me I was not allowed to be there at all.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
It probably came from his wife lawyer.
Yeah, Gemma sends me a little message.
That'd be a great prank.
That would be a great prank.
Start doing it,
if he did that to me, I would laugh because I'd be like, "Why is Gemma reaching out to me?"
No, I think some people if they were into prank or playing pranks like that. I don't even know if people would read what lawyer it came from at first. They would just see whatever the name of the firm is, and with the legal stamp and everything, and then people would just start actually like freaking out, and then at the end of it, it would say like Gemma's name on it. I think that'd be really funny.
That would be funny. Okay. So that's going to be worked out and everything. But camp is closed to the fans.
There's plenty of opportunities to still see the team during training camp. Period.
Yeah.
Like the season ticket holder pickup party, like the Booster Club meeting that's going to happen on October 1st. The Booster Club golf tournament. Yep. Like those are 3 events right there that should help people stay off the hunger of needing to see the Black Bears. And it's unfortunate, but training camp is a very serious and also hectic time of the year.
And it's an important time of the year for these players to get to know each other, to get to know brand systems. And these players need to figure out where they're living, how they're doing certain things. Logistically, it's very important. So we love you, the fans.
Yeah.
Everybody loves the fans here in Binghamton, one of the best hockey communities. We know that you're going to be here 100% for this team. But training camp, just let them kind of get through it. And go to the events that Brooks just mentioned and do that. We have one last thing to talk about, and that's the YouTube channel.
Yep.
How is there going to be any changes? Has there been any movement with Google and YouTube to make sure that you guys do things in the way where it's not going to come down, where the league doesn't have 8 teams have this issue?
So me and EJ sat down once we found out that the channel was reinstated. And
did I tell you before anyone else?
No,
we knew.
We knew.
You knew. Okay.
We just weren't publicizing it because we wanted to make sure that it wasn't just going to go away in a day or two.
Right. Because all the stuff is there, the games and everything.
Yep. So then we were trying to retrieve all of the other channel or all of the games from the other channels that we had. So we still don't have every game from last season.
Right.
But we have a vast majority, including the games that we played in Port Huron. And then also I believe we have some of the. I think we have the playoff 2 games against Watertown as well. I think we have all the playoff games. We're just missing some from when we went to Athens. We don't have those, and
there's the 2 games that on the Power Play Post Show's YouTube channel. They're still there.
Yep,
I just have them private.
Yep, we have those. We've come to terms that we're probably never going to get we're never going to get the games in Athens back.
Yeah,
which does stink, but the YouTube channel is back. That's where the Black Bears are going to be streaming opening night. Pretty soon we're going to be running some tests to see how everything goes over. Josh and the video team do have a lot of new toys this year to play with.
Ooh, some new graphics maybe?
Definitely new graphics. EJ changes the graphics every year.
Yeah.
But then we also have some new cameras. We should have we have a goal line camera.
No.
That I believe I'm going to have access to.
Which end?
Both ends.
Both ends. Yes.
That they can control from the video room. They have a brand new TriCaster, and for a lot of people who are listening, they probably don't know what a TriCaster is, but essentially it's a big thing that controls all the camera angles and all the cuts and the graphics that you see either on the video board or on the YouTube feed.
Yeah.
So they got a brand new one of those.
Nice.
And he's rearranged the room. He's been putting up a whole bunch of new internet lines and cables. And because of the AHL preseason game, that process is actually sped up a little bit because they need to have...
I don't see internet down here on my end of the press box
They
yet.
started with the broadcasters and they're working their way down.
Yes.
So
I want to be able to plug in.
Hopefully that'll be the case.
I'll bring my own cord.
So there are some things like that that we're very excited about.
Nice.
Cole's going to be back with me.
Okay.
Again for another season. He's in grad school right now at Binghamton. It still lives across the street over at those apartments, so never too far away. And let's see, today was actually the day of recording was his first day of being in a school not student teaching, but teacher helper.
Yeah.
Part of that
assistant.
program, teachers. Yeah, TA. So he was doing that at one of the elementary schools here in Broome County.
Nice.
So big shout out to Cole, and not going to say it was me and Trevor's recommendation letters that got him into grad school, but that's the first one I've ever written for grad school, and I'm one for one.
That's cool. That's very cool. So
it is neat.
So about the issues with YouTube, do you guys think you're comfortable with YouTube, that things aren't going to go awry again?
I think so. Now, the day that we got the YouTube channel back, me and EJ went through YouTube's terms of service, TOS as they call it, and it is very, very lengthy. What most people still probably don't understand is customer service isn't like it was 10 years ago when you call somebody and yes, sometimes maybe you're getting somebody in the same country as you. Sometimes not.
Sometimes you don't even get a human anymore.
And with YouTube, you're not going to get a human. Like the days of calling the Google helpline, from the Vince Vaughn, Owen Wilson movie.
Yeah.
I think those are over.
Yeah.
And they think that they have concocted an algorithm that should be able to help any person get through whatever problem they're having with one of their platforms. And unfortunately for us, that was not the case. Now, what I said from the very get-go was all you have to do is find somebody at a Google or a YouTube or one of the subsidiaries.
Right.
And then they can literally press a button, flip a switch, type it in on the keyboard, and your channel is right back. And sure enough, one day, Andreas did meet somebody like that. And he's like, well, do you think you could help my team out? And then sure enough, he texted me, I think it was 7:30 in the morning. And it was like, hey, what's the email for the first YouTube channel that we had?
Yeah.
And sure enough, I still had it written down, sent it to him. And then by the time I got into work that day, went to YouTube, and the channel was back.
Yeah.
And it sent that email address an automated email from YouTube supporters after an extensive review, we have determined that you did not violate any of our terms of service, and we have reinstated your channel effective immediately. Thank you, Team YouTube.
Is that a good sign going into this upcoming season?
We think we have figured out what the issue was. And I don't think it's necessarily the issue of running the ads and YouTube not getting a cut because we weren't compensating. It is a particular ad that we were running.
You can tell me afterwards.
Yeah, because we are trying to restructure said sponsors package because we've made them aware that, hey, we do believe that this is the reason why we got shut down off YouTube. We would love to have your advertising in a different spot.
That's nuts.
Where
I can't believe that, but I'm interested afterwards. All right, so we're only like 20 some days away. You've been following my countdown, obviously, to the home opener. Are you nervous, excited, happy? What are you going into this?
If you would have asked me before I went on vacation, I probably would have said excited.
Yeah.
Now it's getting to be the crunch time, no pun intended, with things revving up here in town. Glad the weather is still great. I always know that training camp is going to be very hectic and things are going to go wrong, and you just have to be able to adapt and be on the fly. Because while not only am I helping the guys in the locker room, making sure they have their meals set up and they're in the right spots, things like that, I'm still doing my regular day job as well. And now with this AHL preseason game, I am helping out the Crunch a lot with making sure that their people are set up with the credentials, coordinating the off-ice officials for the game, because they are going to use the AHL software, not what the FPHL uses.
And a few of our guys were AHL guys, off-ice official-wise, so a couple of them might be familiar with it, but it's probably changed a little bit also in the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, so like now I know that Friday is that Friday is going to be hectic, because not only do I have to coordinate team dinner that night and making sure the guys are in the right spot, because we can't eat here at the arena because there's a preseason game.
Put Cole to work.
We're trying to. And then they can't eat at the restaurant because the restaurant wants to be open for all the people going to the preseason game, and they can just walk over from downtown. So we have to get the food from the restaurant to a different location for the guys to eat. And then all the meanwhile, I think the Crunch are kind of counting on me a little bit to be also up here in press row to help anybody out with any of the problems that they may have. I'm not calling the game. Yeah. Lucas from the Crunch is going to call it, and I don't know if Utica is sending their broadcaster. I don't think they would for a preseason away game.
No. He'd just get booed out of here anyways.
Yeah, that's what I've been told.
Sorry.
Something that could go wrong with the Syracuse people, I kind of need to be on, at least the way it seems is like I'm kind of on standby to help them out. Sure. So if any of the Crunch people are listening and they have an extra medium sweatshirt, I would love one, and I would gladly wear it, around and everything like that, and at the house, because I'm sure sweatshirt weather is coming up here pretty soon.
Oh my gosh.
Days of summer are probably over.
Dan Weber, who is from Minnesota, and I will both agree on this when I say this. Don't be a baby. It's just a little cold weather.
Cold weather stinks.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad. I actually prefer it over the heat that we've had.
That's
but that's
fine,
just me.
Because that's what you like. That's what you've grown up with.
Yes,
I'm used to my summers are 100-degree heat. That's what I'm used to.
During the summertime when you went to the beach, or during the wintertime when you went to the beach, because you could down there, I was on a pond skating.
Yeah, or plowing.
Fine. That's true, too. He is Brooks Hill. He is from the Binghamton Black Bears. He is our good friend and a not-so-fan of our winters. But, Brooks, we always enjoy having you on. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always a pleasure, and, looking forward to coming back at some point during the season and having a nice check-in.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We'll do it right from here because it's just an easy setup for me. And, folks, he is Brooks Hill from the Binghamton Black Bears. You can check him out, obviously, on YouTube, or you could just buy a ticket and come into the arena. Come into the arena. That's what we want. We want you to come into the arena, and when they're on the road, except for in Watertown, because we don't know if you actually can broadcast from Watertown.
I still don't.
Yeah, we still don't know. But he is Brooks Hill from the Binghamton Black Bears, and we'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
If you're a Binghamton hockey fan, then you need to check out binghamtonhockey.net for all your news, stats, information, the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame, top 10 lists, profiles, and so much more. That's binghamtonhockey.net. You're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. That was Brooks Hill. And you know what? No matter what I do, no matter if I actually wrote down in a book, Taylor, I'm not even kidding you. I wrote down 6 questions for him, and it still ended up being like 58 minutes long.
Well, that's because it seems like you and Brooks both talk for a really long time and don't know how to stop.
That's fair. I think she's just mentioning because she and I had a conversation for about 20 minutes, and I think she said about 10 words, and I said everything else. That is completely fair. When the fans start listening to this, more than likely Thursday, maybe Friday, there's going to be only like 22, 21 games. This Friday, it's 3 weeks away to the regular season. There's still a lot of stuff to figure out when it comes to training camp, who's going to make the team and whatnot. But, man, we're coming up quick, and we're going to be at that rink pretty soon. They're going to have ice in it by October 1st at the latest, and hockey's back.
Truthfully, I can't wait for it because it seems like once we're in that arena and there's games, everything else just makes sense.
Now, if you're listening to this at this point, there's a couple of things I want to say. First of all, Josh Fletcher there's going to be an interview with Josh Fletcher this upcoming Sunday on the Power Play Post Show. And I think I'm going to make sure that Taylor can listen to the interview beforehand, and then we'll have a reaction afterwards. You know, I think there's some positive things coming out of the Josh Fletcher camp that I want people to hear. So that's why I asked him to do the interview. I'm going to record it on Thursday evening for Sunday. Make sure that Taylor gets to listen to it, and hopefully there's some good stuff in there that we can react to, which will be pretty cool. So Taylor, when you listen to it, you have to take notes. You know, write something down. You know. I don't know.
I usually do. I'm pretty good at that kind of stuff. I like to keep notes. It helps me stay focused.
Very, very cool. I wasn't sure. I mean, you graduated in 2015. I have no idea if kids take notes in 2015. Still, I mean, I did.
Listen, my class was so keen on taking notes that our one biology teacher, when she did slides, usually mislabeled them to the point where when she'd go to the next slide, we'd be like, well, is this on this topic or this topic? And she's like, you guys are the only class that does this to me.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
We were very organized.
Now to bring it kind of a downer situation, Orca Weisblatt, who played with the Athens Rock Lobsters, he did lose his life just a few days ago. Taylor, I don't know if you know their family story. I know I posted a video, a link to a video about their family. His parents were both born deaf. All the kids that they have 5 kids, 4 boys who all play pro hockey, and a girl. They all learned to speak with them, communicate with them with sign language. Unfortunately, he passed away. He played with the Athens Rock Lobsters last year. He was signed to play in the ECHL with the Allen Americans. He followed basically Steve Martinson, who was the coach last year with Athens up there. I just want to send our thoughts and our prayers to anybody out there who had met him, who would ever talk to him. There's the story of this family is just absolutely amazing. There's been a bunch of videos made. Athens Rock Lobsters did one last year themselves, but TSN has a great video, the one I shared. It's just sad. It brought me back to when Johnny Hockey and his brother Matthew died before the start of last season. Those were obviously, Johnny Hockey, NHLer, seasoned. So it's always sad when stuff like this happens. So I just wanted to throw that out there, and thoughts and prayers from us here at the Power Play Post Show out to his family.
Yeah, I think it's amazing to kind of look at this league and realize that this wasn't necessarily Binghamton related or a certain team related, and it just it just seems like it's a big family and that everyone kind of cares about each other in this. Yeah, they do, and the proof of that is I don't know how many players on the Black Bears actually knew Orca, but a lot of them shared the
the memorial that, basically Athens put out there. And even a couple of the guys did from the Medicine Hats. I can never say their name correctly. The junior club that he played with up in Calgary. So it's up near Calgary. So we want to send our prayers. It's that simple. It sucks. I put the hockey stick outside and turned on the light for a few days in memorial from him. And it's just unfortunately sad. And the reason why it affects me, Taylor, and I just want to bring this up real quick. I talk to so many of these players. I get to know them really, really well. And Orca and any of these players on the Black Bears, they're exactly the same. They're guys who love playing hockey. And if they can get paid some sort of money to do it, they will. And it's great. But they're very, when you talk to these guys as much as I have, and I know you've talked to a few of the guys, as well, you just kind of really, it's not just about watching them on the ice and cheering for them and whatnot. They kind of feel like family almost in a sense, especially some of the ones that you get to know and talk to.
Yeah, you get to know them outside of just being a hockey player, and you get to know them as a person. That's why I've always enjoyed listening to the interviews, because usually they're pretty hockey related, but at the same time you get to learn a lot about these guys and where they come from and what they stand for, and I think it's amazing.
It is. All right. The Power Play Post is available on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, YouTube, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post Show on your favorite app, and don't forget to subscribe. Join the conversation on Facebook. Search for Power Play Post Show and become part of our community there. Looking for everything BinghamtonHockey.net. Just visit BinghamtonHockey.net and go. That's your go-to source for stats, history, and all things Binghamton hockey. And of course, thank you to Rob LaPoulos, our MC, John Petitucci, our musical director, and from the Binghamton Black Bears, broadcaster Brooks Hill. I am Bob Howard. She is
Taylor Welch.
And stay tuned, because on Sunday, we'll have an interview with Josh Fletcher right here on the Power Play Post Show. Till we talk to you guys next time, have a good one, and we'll talk to you on Sunday.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Power Play Post Show. Be sure to tune in next week to the Box Studios Radio Network for all the latest Black Bears news and interviews from around minor league hockey. The Power Play Post Show would like to thank John Petitucci for all the music you hear on the show. You've been listening to the Power Play Post Show.